Now, that's South Africa's premier music showcase that has found a new home for the next 3 years. The recording industry of South Africa, RiSA, recently announced that the South African Music Awards will return to the Zulu Kingdom after 8 years. The awards are set to take place on the weekend of the 17th and the 18th of November at the Durban ICC. And to share more of what we can expect this year, we're joined virtually by Summer 29 project lead, Refiloe Ramogase. Refiloe, a very good morning to you. A warm welcome to Morning Live. I mean, speak to us about the decision to move the awards back to Durban after 8 years.
Yeah, thank you, and thank you for having us. Why not, really? I mean, there's so much. I think South African music belongs to all who live in it, and I think it's only fitting that every once in a while or every couple of years, this thing should rotate, so that it can be closer to the various people of South Africa. KZN in particular, wow, what's there not to love about this province? Culturally and from a music perspective, it has given so much to the South African music landscape in terms of superstars, Grammy Award winners, in terms of genres, in terms of really supporting the arts over the years, considering how they've had and hosted mega cultural events over the years. It's just such a great partner to have. And a real thank you to to KZN EDTIA in particular, environmental development, economic development, tourism and environmental affairs, and the MEC in particular, Siboniso Duma, for the vision to see that together we can grow the arts.
And we usually have the awards around the first half of the year. Why the decision to move it towards the end, around the 17th and the 18th of November?
A couple of things, really. More than anything else, we wanted to bed down what was a long-term partnership with ourselves and KZN, and we just wanted to make sure that the T's and the I's were dotted. Further to that, it's only fitting that in a province where it is summer all year round, the first summer in KZN should be in summer. And I think there's also just a poignancy around having it with this kind of proximity at this time of the year, as we build up to Summer 30, which is 30 years of South African music and 30 years of South African democracy. And that you will see us then realigning back to that first half of the year. So this is a number it's a once-off for this particular year, but we will then move back towards the first half of the year and we'll be making pronouncements accordingly.
Refiloe, I suppose we can't have this conversation without reflecting back on last year's summers at Sun City, where we've had conversations with artists who, were complaining about the execution. What are the lessons that came out of last year's hosting, and what are you going to improve on to avoid those issues going into the 17th and the 18th of November?
Those lessons have been executed or have been followed through at every level of this particular year, starting with our judge and rules refinement along with the industry. I think it's important to remember that in the recording industry of South Africa, this is an event which is by the industry and for the industry, and a special thanks to everybody, both from the independent as well as the major label chambers, who came together and made sure that we really had a granular focus on rules, on the summer rules, on weighting criteria, on judges selection. A special thank you to everybody in the ancillary industries, including media, that have also then come on board and selflessly adjudicated in a very, very, very committed fashion to ensure that we have a resounding credibility both in our nominees as well as in our winners. We obviously, we're working very closely with the province, where a local organizing committee has been formed. And it is a multidisciplinary task team across RiSA as well as the province itself to ensure that we are as operationally seamless as we possibly can be. The reality of the matter is that, in life, there are always going to be moments where you have teething problems, but we're striving to make sure that we take our lessons and we make these summers and the ones that are after this as excellent as we possibly can.
And how do you ensure that you stay relevant in a digital space, in a space where music is evolving?
Well, we are evolving along with music. I think the question should be to other industries in terms of what lessons can they take from music, which tends to be a bit ahead of the curve in terms of digital disruption. Where we find ourselves now is we are ultimately a representative and still continue to be the largest music award ceremony in South Africa, if not the continent. And I think that in and of itself is telling enough. We also continue to be the only one that represents all of the genres of South Africa. So again, we are by the industry and for the industry. Our partnerships with people like TikTok last year, so an unprecedented 40 plus billion views on TikTok. And we were able to make sure that we not only gave a linear TV experience to people, but we gave them a short form content experience, which is part and parcel of this digital disruption that you speak to. And again, we are celebrating in the way our rules have evolved. Along with the industry, we've moved from physical paradigm to ensuring that our rules are in line with the way people consume music, factoring in platforms and modes to market such as streaming and other ways that people are now consuming music. So yes, I think if anything, music at large and ourselves are a case study for everybody else in terms of how to cope with extreme disruption.
And you announced your nominees earlier this week, aka the late, aka leading your nominees list with KO. Tell us a little bit about how that went during the week.
It was a celebratory affair. I think the spirits were really, really good. We used that same event as our nominee our partnership announcement with KZN. And I think the combination of the nominations, people getting to know who was nominated, along with the fact that people got to know where our home was going to be for the next 3 years, made for a great joyous and a really special thank you to our partners on that nominee launch, RiSA in particular, for transporting us in their new world-class train from Park Station to Soweto Theatre, as well as to the Soweto Theatre, which is such an incredibly important and safe space for the creative community of Soweto. So it was a really joyous event.
All right, Refiloe Ramogase, thank you so much for talking to us. Good luck with this year's event. He is the Summer 29 project lead. Now, the 29th Summers will take place at the Durban ICC next month. We just spoke to Refiloe Ramogase on what we can expect this year. All right, after the break, we speak Pride Month, because October, of course, is Pride Month. Stay with us. I say again.